Coach Gaglione here. Today we're talking about the overhead press. If you're training alone in your garage, a standing overhead press may not be possible, but a strict seated press or a Z press could be a good option. So I recommend when you're doing a seated press, do these for a little bit higher repetitions, more in the 5 to 8 range, just so you're a little bit more safe, especially if you don't have an adjustable incline bench or utility bench to kind of give yourself back support. There's going to be a little bit of a safety factor with kind of falling over with those really heavy weights. That being said, it's also going to kind of force you to stay upright and use your core a little bit. Again, make sure you have the requisite. I'm kind of close. I'm like kind of a tweener. So kind of, I again tend to do overhead work a little bit more higher reps for that reason, because again, I tend to overextend my lumbar when I press. But if you do have the requisite range of motion to go overhead, make sure that we're getting a good scapulohumeral rhythm. So as your shoulder flexes, your scapula should naturally elevate as you go through that range of motion. So I'm going to show a couple different variations. So with the seated press, we still want to root our feet from the ground up, twisting our feet on the floor. I'm going to show you guys from the front angle just so you can kind of see. So I can, if I want to be a little bit safer, I can just do a pin press from the rack here and reset every single time. I can go thumbless or wrap my thumb around, giving my elbows forward, pushing up and over. I'm again shrugging up at the top, taking my scapula through a full range of motion. So I can start and stop from the pins, or if I have a little bit more range of motion, I can go right to my clavicle, pause. I like to add a pause at the top and at the bottom. So that's a strict seated press. If you have a lot of flexibility, I can also do these on the floor or with my legs straight out in front, either in a complete L position or a little bit wider. So this is a Z press. And again, I can do this from the pins. And for me, this is super challenging, not only on my core, but also my mobility. Do one more, hold, and then back in. Now for me right now, I would have to kind of warm up a little bit more for that. I would typically do the Z press from the floor with my legs out in front of me, a little bit wider just for a little bit more support. But those are some options. Doing a seated press or a Z press, popularized by Jadrunas Savickas. I kind of wrote about that a long time ago, one of my first articles, I think back in 2011 in T Nation. If you have some lower back issues, I don't recommend the Z press because there's going to be a little bit more compression on the spine, so that is a consideration. But if you can't press overhead, these are some good options if you're training at home and you can't, if you're kind of hitting the ceiling as well. So I would recommend use higher reps for the seated press. Make sure your torso is nice and neutral. Make sure you're getting good scapulohumeral rhythm as you lock out. And that's some good considerations when training the overhead press in a garage gym setting, whether you're at home or you're just in a setting where you're not able to do a standing press. That's the overhead press tips and tricks. Thank you guys for watching. Till next time, stay strong. We'll see you soon.